Now, we are about to experience probably the most catastrophic financial downturn in global history. Certainly nothing that we've experienced in the last 400 years. I mean, offhand, I can't think of a larger financial collapse. It will be a civilizational collapse. Globalism is over, okay? And this collapse, it's not going to be in one fell swoop. It's in slow motion, but it's already started, and there's no way to stop it, okay? And it's because of these incompetent leaders that I described. They went ahead and they put all of these sanctions on Russia without realizing the damage that it would do to their own economies. And now they're about to do the exact same thing on China. See, because they don't know how to put themselves in the shoes of the other. All they know how to do is club them with a stick, okay? And so they're trying to club the Chinese and the Indians, for that matter, with the same club that they used on the Russians. And of course, what's going to happen is that India and China are going to wind up becoming friends, and they're going to iron out their disputes, especially on the issue of water rights. And what will happen because of that is that China and India will cement a strong, mutually beneficial relationship. India and Russia already have a very strong relationship that is decades old, and the fact that India is not sanctioning Russia and is not denouncing Russia is, in fact, the reason that the West wants to sanction India and is pushing India into the arms of China. Now, China and Russia have very strong ties that China has self-consciously been developing over the last 25 years because the Chinese leadership, for all their flaws and the fact that they are, authoritarian with totalitarian tendencies, they are very wise in terms of thinking of the long term. And they recognize that Russia is their primary partner, the partner for the centuries. Centuries. It is. And that's why the Chinese and the Russians are allied and there's no daylight between them. And they are going to march together and they're going to bring on India now that India and China are ironing out their differences. And that trio is going to be the nucleus for the future of humanity. It really is. And Europe will once again become the backwater, which it historically has always been. It's only been in the last 400 years, which is a fraction of human history, that Europe has been of any importance whatsoever. Before that, it was just a fucking dump yard, just a shithole. It's going to go back to being a shithole with pretty monuments. It's going to be like Bruges, okay? Bruges is beautiful, but a shithole, Yeah, and America is going to collapse. America is completely hollowed out. And the American leadership, this leadership that I explained, that is incredibly arrogant for the reasons I explained, and incredibly compliant and conformist for the reasons I explained, that does not know how to put themselves in the shoes of the other, they're going to unroll or they're going to carry out this sanctions escalator on India and China. And they don't realize that they need India and China more than China and India needs the United States. They don't realize this. Because for all of their development, it's been that China and India needed the US. The US was the essential player. That moment has passed. The United States deliberately hollowed out its industrial base. It has no industrial base. The United States is over-leveraged. When you look at just the federal government debt, it's what, 125, 130% or something like that? But you add on state debt, municipal debt, and agency debt, it's 200% of GDP. The United States, were it a country, it would be getting an austerity package from the IMF, for crying out loud. America's broke. And now the only thing that's been propping up this whole architecture, the financial architecture of the United States, its ability to survive with this monumental debt, has been the petrodollar. And that's being systematically kicked out from under it by its own people. The ruble is going to be the great currency of the future. The ruble, of all the currencies, unbelievably though it may sound, is going to become the reserve currency because the Kremlin controls Kazakhstan, Belarus, and Ukraine, and Russia. And those four countries account for 40% of the global export market in wheat, and another huge percentage of barley, another huge percentage of oil, another huge percentage of uranium, aluminum, nickel, neon, all kinds of stuff. the ruble is going to become the reserve currency, which is unbelievable as far as I'm concerned, but there we are. The American leadership class, these young people, or not so young people, I consider them young because they're only in their 40s, but these people who are running shit now, that were educated the way I've explained, they don't even see this. They don't even realize it's happening because they've grown in such a narrow road, in such a narrow pathway. And the structures that have held up around them, okay, they don't realize how fragile they are. They don't realize what sacrifices were necessary to build such structures that have created, that have allowed the prosperity that exists in the United States today. And so what happens is that these leaders of today, the Jen Psaki's, the Ned Prices, all these fucking morons, the Anthony Blinkens, they're knocking down these pillars. They don't seem to understand that it's the pillars that hold up the whole structure, the structure that advance them, the structure that gives them the privilege and comfortable lives that they lead. They don't realize that they themselves are knocking them down. And nobody's going to save them. Yeah. I mean, it's a real tragedy. And the people who have the capability to do it, I mean, like a guy like me, a guy who got, shoved out, edged out early on, right? Do you think that I'm going to like step in and try to help out and solve this problem? Fuck them. Fuck them, Let their whole fucking structure collapse on their heads and bury them. I'm going to take care of myself. I mean, you didn't want my help back in the day. I moved a little bit outside the norm and you edged me out. Now I'm going to help you? Fuck you, buddy. All the capable people that got edged out over the years, over the decades, they're going to watch. And they're going to leave the West. And already I'm hearing from certain people, fans, and they're talking about moving to Russia because they recognize, we can always feel the winner. We always know. We always know we can always sense the wave that's coming. And we're all surfers. We all want to ride that wave. We don't want to be on the dead dud wave. No, we want to ride that big one, right? I think the most important thing that I want to tell you, the last thing I want to tell you with, these people are incredibly arrogant and they will look down on you. Okay, they'll like look at you like you're like a little piece of shit on their shoe or something like that, right? But you have to feel pity for them. Like I said before, you see those children that were born without arms, and that's what they are. They were born without any kind of moral sense, and they were born completely inflexible. The collapse that's coming will shatter them. Most of them will not survive it. And I'm talking in the literal sense. They will not survive it like that they will die, okay? How will they die? They will die of depression, of suicide. They will die, self-inflicted or passively self-inflicted. They will not survive the enormous changes that are coming our way because they are stunted, see? One time I saw something perverse, I thought. I saw a cubic watermelon. It really was. It was a watermelon in the shape of a cube. Because somebody had figured out that, if you built like a plastic box, right, and put the watermelon as it's growing, you put it in the plastic box, it'll grow into the shape of the cube in the plastic box that's a cube, and it'll be a nice fit for your supermarket, for your refrigerator, right? Instead of being like a round ball, it'll be just a cube that you can just slide in, right? People invent all kinds of stupid shit, right? And, I remember seeing an actual watermelon shaped that way. It just seems so perverse, okay? And so anti-natural. And these people are like that. They are anti-natural. They're not going to survive these changes. But you will, see? So be thankful for that. And when they sort of like look askance at you and look down on you, just know, you don't have to say anything or yell at them or throw a tantrum or be pathetic. No, but you'll know. And knowing often as not is enough. Okay, take it easy and I'll catch you next time.